So work visas complicate matters for employers, but what are some of the complications?
So it is challenging for employers because the expectation is in most circumstances, a promotion, for example, or an initial offer of employment, that the employee is going to remain with the organization for an extended period of time because you're allocating resources, you're training the employee. So that's the expectation.
Mm-hmm.
But when you juxtapose the immigration circumstance, it creates a complication. So, for example, you could call it the watershed decision in this area with Imperial Oil and Mr. Hasib. And so Mr. Hasib applies for a position. The position, as a condition, as it were, requires citizenship or permanent resident status. Why? Because Imperial Oil is investing in this person for the long term. So Mr. Hasib applies, but what he doesn't tell them is that he's subject to a graduate work permit, which had I believe, a maximum duration of 3 years. So he doesn't tell them that. And he applies. And he gets the job. Now, as part of the job offer, though, it's conditional on him providing supporting documentation that he's a permanent resident or a citizen. Well, obviously he can't. So they retract the offer. And he brings a human rights claim. And he says, you're discriminating against me on the basis of citizenship. So there are a number of responses from Imperial Oil, but one of the responses was, sort of self-evidently, well, hold on a second, the prohibited ground of discrimination under the Human Rights Code is citizenship. We said you can be employed with us if you're a permanent resident. So it's not citizenship. Ultimately, the tribunal and the Court of Appeal did not buy that argument. And so the next argument that Imperial Oil advanced was, in essence, there were a couple of others, but let's just say the primary one was, well, the guy lied on the application. He knew we were looking for people that, of course, had permanent resident status or citizenship. So on that basis, but the Imperial Oil didn't satisfy the tribunal and ultimately, in effect, the Court of Appeal. That really was the basis for the retraction of the offer of employment. So the bottom line from that decision is, as an employer, you can't discriminate on the basis of immigration status. So if somebody is subject to a temporary work authorization and you elect not to, for example, promote them because you have uncertainty attached to whether it will be renewed or ultimately they'll get permanent resident status, that's discriminatory. So what many employers are facing, we're seeing it all the time, is exactly that. You have employees that are subject to temporary work authorizations. The employer is sitting there going, hey, we don't know that it's going to be renewed. And so we're not going to, in effect, invest in this employee or indeed hire an employee who's subject to a temporary work authorization because of the reasons that I just identified. So yes, it's very difficult for employers because the prohibited ground of citizenship is interpreted very, very broadly. One of the many challenges that employers certainly face with digital workers.
Oh,
Is this another accident?
Wow, that's a good one though. This
what
one.
the? Jesus,
oh wow, that's a
wow.
How did that one end up in that scenario? But that's,
you gotta get off the road.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
The weather's terrible. It's causing all these problems. Nothing like 19 degrees and sunny to cause accidents, I've always said.